Good morning, my friends. My name is Melissa from Melissa's Struggling Walk with Jesus. I'm here on Tuesday, April 14th, 2026 at 7:28 a.m. I'm using the Amplified Holy Bible and the Navigator's Bible reading plan to share the Word of God with you. And today, I'm working out of the Old Testament in the book of Nehemiah, chapter 12. The title starts out with priests and Levites who returned to Jerusalem with Zerubbabel. And it says, "Now these are the priests and Levites who came up with Zerubbabel the son of Shealtiel and with Jeshua, Sariah, Jeremiah, Ezra." Verse 2, Amariah, Malach, Hattush. 3, Shechaniah, Raham, Mermoth. 4, Iddo, Ginnathai, Abijah. 5, Mijamin, Mediah, Bilgah. 6, Shemaiah, Joririb, Jediah. 7, Salu, Amok, Hilkiah, and Jediah. These were the heads of the priests and their kinsmen in the days of Jeshua. 8, the Levites were Jeshua, Binnui, Kadmiel, Sherebiah, Judah, and Mattaniah, who was in charge of the songs of thanksgiving and praise, he and his brothers. 9, also Bakbukiah and Unai, their brothers, stood opposite them in their divisions of service. 10, now Jeshua became the father of Joachim, Joachim of Eliashib, Eliashib of Joiada. 11, and Joiada became the father of Jonathan, and Jonathan of Jaddua. 12, in the days of Joachim, the priests, the heads of others' households were of Sariah, Moriah, of Jeremiah, Hananiah. 13, of Ezra, Meshullam, of Amariah, Jehohanan. 14, of Malachi, Jonathan, of Shebaniah, Joseph. 15, of Haram, Adnah, of Marioth, Hilkiah. 16, of Iddo, Zechariah, of Ginnathon, Meshullam. 17, of Abijah, Zechariah, of Meniamin, and of Moadiah, Peltiah. 18, of Bilgah, Shemua, of Shemaiah, Jehonathan. 19, of Jorib, Mattaniah, of Jediah, Uzri. 20, of Saleah, Kaleah, of Amok, Eber. 21, of Hilkiah, Hashabiah, of Jediah, Nethanel. The title turns into the chief Levites in verse 22. And as for the Levites, in the days of Eliashib, Joiada, Johanan, and Jaddua, the heads of fathers' households were registered. So were the priests during the reign of Darius the Persian. 23, the sons of Levi, heads of fathers' households, were recorded in the book of the Chronicles until the days of Johanan the son of Eliashib. 24, the heads of the Levites were Hashabiah, Sherebiah, and Jeshua, the son of Kadmiel, and the brothers opposite them, to praise and to give thanks, as commanded by David the man of God, one division singing in response to the men in the opposite division. 25, Mattaniah, Bakbukiah, Obadiah, Meshullam, Talmon, and Akab were gatekeepers, keeping watch at the storehouses of the gates. 26, these men served in the days of Joachim the son of Jeshua the son of Jozadak, and in the days of Nehemiah the governor, and Ezra the priest and scribe. So the title turns into dedication of the wall in verse 27, and it says, now at the dedication of the wall of Jerusalem they sought out the Levites from all their places in order to bring them to Jerusalem to celebrate the dedication with gladness, with hymns of thanksgiving, and with songs to the accompaniment of cymbals, harps, and lyres. 28, So the sons of the singers gathered together from the district around Jerusalem, and from the villages of the Netophathites. 29. From Beth Gilgal, and from the fields of Geba and Asmaveth, for the singers had built villages for themselves around Jerusalem. 30. The priests and the Levites purified themselves. They also purified the people, the gates, and the wall. Now the title turns into procedures for the temple in verse 31. And it says, Then I had the leaders of Judah come up on the wall, and I appointed 2 large thanksgiving choirs. The first one proceeding to the right on top of the wall toward the refused gate. 32. Heshiah and half of the leaders of Judah followed them. 33. With Azariah, Ezra, Meshullam. 34. Judah, Benjamin, Shemaiah, and Jeremiah. 35. And some of the priest's sons with trumpets, and Zechariah, the son of Jonathan, the son of Shemaiah, the son of Mattaniah, the son of Micaiah, the son of Zechar, the son of Asaph. 36. And his brothers, Shemaiah, Azarel, Melaliah, Galaliah, Mai, Nethanel, Judah, and Hananiah, with the musical instruments of David, the man of God, and Ezra the scribe went in front of them. 37. At the fountain gate, they were directly up the steps of the city of David by the stairway of the wall above David's house to the water gate on the east. 38. The second choir went to the left. I followed with half of the people on the wall above the tower of the furnaces to the broad wall. 39. And above the gate of Ephraim, and by the old gate, by the fish gate, by the tower of Hananel, and the tower of the 100, as far as the sheep gate, and they stopped at the gate of the guard. 40. Then the 2 choirs stood in the house of God, so did I, and half of the officials with me. 41. And the priests Eliakim, Messiah, Meniamin, Micaiah, Elionai, Zechariah, and Hananiah with trumpets. And Messiah, Shemaiah, Eliezer, Uzziah, Jehohanan, Melchijah, Elam, and Ezer, and the singers sang with Jezariah as the leaders. 43. Also on that day they offered great sacrifices and rejoiced because God had given them great joy. The women and children also rejoiced, so that the joy of Jerusalem was heard from far away. 44. On that day men were appointed over the chambers for the stores, the contributions, the first fruits, and the tithes, to gather into them from the fields of the cities the portions required by the law for the priests and the Levites. For Judah rejoiced over the priests and Levites who served. 45. And they performed the worship of their God and the service of purification. So did the singers and gatekeepers, as David and his son Solomon had commanded. 46. For in the days of David and Asaph, in ancient times, there were leaders of singers, songs of praise, and hymns of thanksgiving to God. 47. So in the days of Zerubbabel and later of Nehemiah, all Israel would give the daily portions for the singers and the gatekeepers. And they set apart the consecrated portion for the Levites, and the Levites set apart the consecrated portion for the sons of Aaron, the priests.